If you can't control your emotions, you will keep ruining your own life. No enemy needs to fight you. No one needs to plan against you. You will do the damage yourself. And in this story, you will learn how to control your emotions using the principles of Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai who mastered himself before he ever mastered the sword. Let me tell you a real story. There was a man named Greg. He wasn't weak. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't unlucky, but he couldn't control his emotions. Greg had been sitting in the orchard for 2 days. Not because he loved the place, but because he didn't know where else to go. It was far from home, quiet and empty. He hadn't eaten anything since the first day. His phone kept vibrating in his pocket, but he ignored it. He already knew who it was: his manager, his co-workers, his sister. He wasn't ready to talk to anyone. Lately, everything felt like an attack. At work, simple corrections sounded like insults. Casual jokes felt like mockery. By the end of every day, he felt like he was carrying invisible wounds on his back. In his mind, everyone had become an enemy. That evening, as the sun began to set, Greg picked up small stones and threw them at a tree in front of him, hard enough to release the anger, soft enough to avoid damage. He didn't notice someone standing behind him. A hand tapped his shoulder. "Young man," a calm voice said, "I've been standing here for a while. Your phone has been ringing non-stop, but you won't answer. Sometimes when life feels heavy, we don't realize we're part of the problem." Greg turned quickly. "The whole world is against me," he snapped. "You don't understand what I'm dealing with." The man didn't react. He was old, maybe late 60s, with tired eyes and a slow, steady posture. Instead of arguing, he sat down beside Greg. "You speak like someone who reacts quickly," the old man said. "Someone whose emotions take control before his mind does." Greg wanted to protest, but the words stuck in his throat. After a long silence, Greg's voice cracked. "I can't control my anger," he admitted. "It has ruined so many things for me. I've lost opportunities. I've turned friends into enemies. My family walks on eggshells around me." He wiped his face. "I get triggered by small things, and once it happens, I don't even recognize myself." He stared at the ground. "I'm here because I slapped a colleague today. His name is John. He corrected me at work. He didn't insult me. He just said, 'You're doing it wrong.' But I felt attacked. I slapped him." Greg swallowed hard. 30 minutes later, I realized what I had done. That's when the shame hit me. The old man nodded slowly. "I buried my only son 4 days ago," he said. Greg looked up. "We were coming back from a meeting," the man continued. "A car hit us from behind. My son jumped out immediately, furious. I told him to stay in the car. He wouldn't listen. He went to confront the other driver." The old man paused. The driver panicked, pulled out a gun. "It wasn't meant to kill anyone, but anger moves faster than reason. My son is gone." The old man took a deep breath. "After his death, I couldn't sleep," he said. "I kept asking myself one question: what kind of man reacts with fists before thought?" That's when I remembered something my father used to read to me when I was young. He was a history teacher. He loved Japanese philosophy. He used to talk about Miyamoto Musashi, not as a warrior, but as a man who mastered himself. So I went back to those books, and one principle stood out. When the old man mentioned Musashi, Greg looked confused. So the old man continued. "Let me explain it in a simple way," he said. Miyamoto Musashi believed that the first battle is not with another person. It's with your own emotions. When someone insults you and you react immediately, you've already lost. Not because they're right, but because they now control you. He picked up a small stone and rolled it between his fingers. Musashi trained himself to pause, even if the pause was just one breath. One breath before speaking. One breath before acting, because that breath creates space. And in that space, you choose. He looked at Greg and said, "Anger isn't the problem. Anger is normal. The problem is acting while angry." Musashi never fought when his mind was shaking. He waited until his mind became still. Once your mind is still, the other person starts making mistakes. The old man leaned closer. Here's another thing Musashi understood, he said. The emotional man fights on impulse. The calm man fights on timing. Most people respond immediately because they want relief. Musashi delayed his response because he wanted victory. In arguments, silence confuses people. In conflict, calm scares people. When you don't react the way they expect, they lose balance. Greg nodded slowly. The old man continued. Musashi also trained his body to stay calm. Slow breathing, relaxed shoulders, steady voice. Your body tells your mind what to do. If your body is tense, your mind panics. So Musashi controlled his body first. Then his emotions followed. That was when it started to hit Greg. Not like motivation, like truth. He remembered every fight he had lost, not because he was weak, but because he reacted too fast. He remembered slapping John, not because John was wrong, but because Greg felt exposed. He realized something painful. Most of his problems didn't come from enemies. They came from moments he failed to pause. Greg spoke quietly. So if I had just paused... The old man nodded. One pause would have saved your job. One pause would have saved your respect. One pause could save your future. Greg felt something strange. Not anger, not shame. Clarity. For the first time, he understood that emotional control wasn't about being silent forever or letting people disrespect you. It was about choosing when and how to respond. About responding from strength, not from pain. The old man stood up and said, Musashi didn't become great overnight. He trained this every day. So start small. When you feel triggered, don't speak immediately. Breathe. Observe. Let the emotion pass. Then decide. As the old man walked away, Greg sat there quietly. The orchard was the same. The world was the same. But something had shifted. For the first time, Greg didn't feel like the world was against him. He realized something harder to accept. The enemy was never outside. And for the first time in a long while, he felt like winning was possible. Most people think their problem is people, their boss, their partner, their friends, their enemies. But the truth is this: the problem is what happens inside you when things don't go your way. Musashi understood something early in life. The moment you lose control of your emotions, you hand your power to someone else. Anger makes you loud, but calm makes you dangerous. When you react instantly, you don't choose, you are chosen. You say things you can't take back. You fight battles you never needed to fight. And later, when the noise settles, you're left alone with regret. Control is not weakness. Silence is not fear. Calm is not submission. Calm is dominance. The man who can pause while his emotions are screaming is a man who cannot be easily defeated. So the next time you feel triggered, don't rush to speak. Don't rush to act. Breathe. Observe. Choose. Because in that one pause lives your respect, your future, and your freedom. As Musashi lived and proved, the greatest victory is victory over yourself.